Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Learning Unlearning event happening on October 10th and 11th, 2020. Thank you so much for signing up. It really gives us a lot of pleasure to be bringing this event to you. Kumuda and I have spent many hours and nights talking about it, thinking about it in a way as how do we bring this together cohesively, meaningfully, purposefully, and in a way that we can actually interact. So as a prep, before you come to the event, we'd like you to watch these 3 videos that we're going to be sending you so that it helps you prepare mentally so you can come with the right state of mind to receive the topics and context that we're going to be talking about.
Thank you, Madhu, for being a part of this pre-interview for this event, Learning Unlearning. It's such a pleasure to have this conversation with you as always. Moving right into the first question, what are your first thoughts, your immediate thoughts when you hear Learning Unlearning, Madhu?
Thanks so much, Kumuda and Shreya, for having me over. Learning, unlearning. So learning for me, of course, I think my journey of my life is about learning. If there's anything that I, don't have humility about, it's the fact that I'm an eternal, learning fiend, so to speak. But sometimes learning also translates to knowing more and more about less and less, expertise becomes that. And that's the point. I think we need to shift the focus and look at the concept of unlearning. So to me, unlearning is really unraveling. It's also kind of peeling the various layers that we have to be able to see other possibilities, right? And not to be seen in a negative sense or have this negative connotations about unlearning is about departure from what you have learned and disregarding it in a sense, right? So I really feel that there are 2 sides of a coin, and you need one to be able to make the other space fertile and exist.
Yeah. So, Madhu, when we were talking about unlearning, when we were initially brainstorming, we were thinking of what might be some of the triggers for unlearning or what might be some of the outcomes of unlearning. This was also intended at making the conversation as specific as possible rather than discuss this as, and unlearning really doesn't have any boundaries. It doesn't really start somewhere and end somewhere. So really, how do we make this specific? And then we landed on triggers and outcomes. So do you want to talk about what might be some of the triggers that a dancer feels the need to unlearn, the dancer feels that there needs to be that departure that you were talking about?
Absolutely. I think, when we sort of journey within and start to reflect on why we're doing what we're doing, right? I mean, a lot of us have had to face those questions, especially in these times, as we call it, the COVID Kal, we suddenly have time with an entity we don't know too well, and that's ourselves, right? And some of us ended up, saying, is this me? And why am I doing what I'm doing? Why did I start dancing in the first place? Because we were all so busy running after things and, you know, keeping both our kitchen and our creative fires going. It's a tough job, right? And especially as women dancers, I must say that I think we have it even harder actually, right? So we're also doing this work-life, home balance, and all these different things that we need to balance and bring equilibrium to. And then suddenly everything stops, right? And I believe that the first trigger to discover your creative self is to invite stillness, invite silence into our lives, right? And because if you notice, the eureka moment happens when you're either fast asleep in the middle of the night, you get up and say, oh my God, I need to write this down. Or you're in the shower and you have this idea, right? So it's time we acknowledge that, you know, as somatic practitioners, that to dip into the intuitive body, we need to invite some stillness. And I think this time, this space offered us that. Definitely. Yeah. And I completely agree with you. It is definitely a trigger. It is something that fuels our imagination. And so much has been said about stillness. In fact, in Kathak, when we dance, when you look at a dancer, they say, you know, she's got so much therav. She's got like this steady, you know, still at the same time, this gravitas, right? How does that come? So, yes, definitely.
Yeah, so you were talking about stillness and you were talking about qualities of a dancer. And then I was just going back to this conversation we had some time back where, you know, you were talking as this was one of, I think, our first conversations when I, you know, told you about this unlearning, you know, discussion. And the first thing that you told me was, you know, haven't we unlearned space? Haven't we completely, you know, without even, you know, like a course or a you know, conscious decision, haven't we completely unlearned space? And I remember you sharing some very interesting ideas around that. Do you want to just talk about?
Sure, Kumuda. I think, you know, all of us sort of permeated and embraced the virtual space fairly early, at least for my dance company and institute. We started in early April itself, and this whole lockdown started. So, you know, here is a concept of how we were viewing space in order to create work, in order to showcase work, in order to look at work, and suddenly that's just taken away from us, right? We are not in our studios, we're not going to the auditoria, we're not, and suddenly everything shifts to this tablet-sized viewing. And some of us were just left wondering what is going to happen. A lot of people, I remember, even then we had a seminar at that time, the Dr. Maya Rao conference, and quite a few artists were saying, you know, this is interim, we're going to come back to another 2 months, etc. 7 months have passed. We're still struggling with this, right? And we suddenly, you know, this is the thing with us artists, you know, we know how to be in the present moment, right? Because when we're dancing or, you know, we're painting, everything else stops, right? And this moment, I think, offers us the qualities, the attributes of spontaneity, of fearlessness. Yeah? And I think that's what has made us venture into this other space of viewing, of creating, of showcasing, of absorbing very, very differently. And I think it's a very powerful time. I think these have been very challenging and humbling times, but as I said to you the other day, they're also very creative times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just gonna go backwards to, you know, this one thing that has been a part of the dance world for a very long time. Often as dancers, we let one source inform our thinking for a very long time. The danger of one source informing our thinking. And, you know, when we were looking at what might be, you know, because unlearning typically, it doesn't mean unlearning a certain movement. It doesn't literally translate down to unlearning a certain choreography, but it translates as far as, you know, unlearning the way you think. And so I was just wanting to discuss this idea of, you know, so often we get stuck, or we encounter, this idea of one idea or one source informing our entire thinking. And, like what kind of an unlearning does it take to, discover and, accept and embrace, like various avenues of thinking. I thought that was something that was super relevant coming from the experience that you come from.
Yeah. Thanks for asking that question. I think it's a very, very interesting question and got me thinking about a whole lot of areas. So let's like sort of, you know, divide them and then bring them back together. So if you're looking at the training aspect itself, when you're talking about one knowledge source, etc., which is also like the Guru Shishya Parampara, for example, actually that the way we look at it now wasn't how it was. It isn't so unidimensional, right? And I can say that I think learning for me in that sense has been more through osmosis. You know, of course, there's been traditional methodologies, pedagogy, there's also been heuristic learning. But I remember that I was fortunate enough to have a guru like Mayaji, Dr. Maya Rao, who would teach you something and then she'd say, now make it your own. Right? And now what is this make it your own? So you're an artist, you know, so make it your own, your imagery, you come with a certain volume of experiences and bring that into your life. And about failure being such a huge part of learning, right? And unlearning. So I remember when I was quite young, in my early 20s, I think I had a really, really bad breakup or something, right? And in school, college, you know, these things happen. And I was shattered. I was like Naika. And we had a performance, I had to do a thumri. And I remember her coming backstage and saying, you know, tumhara abhinay bahut acha ho gaya, you know, like your abhinay has improved. And she said something, and this is why we should look at the polarities in a sense. She said, unless you know separation, how will you know union? Unless you know, unless there's viyog, how will there be sanjog? So I've had that kind of, I've learned so much through osmosis. I've always learned to absorb from various sources. Even if you're looking at one guru, you're not looking at, you know, this knowledge transmission as being, like I said, unidimensional and sort of also binary. It's that whole experience, how they're reacting to situations, how, you know, they're using experiences to fuel a certain decision, right? And then this whole thing about make it your own. You know, so I remember even like if a movement was taught to me, she said, you're a taller person and therefore do it differently. A shorter person would probably move her elbow up higher. Don't do that. You'll create too many angles here, right? So I was very fortunate to have somebody like that. And even in my teaching, one thing that I keep telling my students or company members is that learning is one thing, but inspiration is something else, right? And there begins the unlearning in a sense also of something that you've been holding on to. And you say, hey, you know, I need to let go of this and, you know, maybe need to think differently. It's very important for us artists. And it happens in cycles through our lifetime. And, you know, for me, learning also is dwelling too long sometimes in the familiar, right? So as they say, you know, they say experts are people who know more and more about less and less. And when is it time to say, you know, let me share this idea, this extra ornamentation that have the mythology I've created around my own persona, and say, you know what, I don't know. I want to know. Ask. I think that's the first step. Questioning.
Yeah. I think you make a very important point there when you said, how do you know, separation if you don't know unity, which was in fact one of the important,
Union.
So, you know, like, how do you know the other if you don't know one, right? Like, how do you know that? So this was in fact one of our important, considerations, even in this whole event, where how do you know how to unlearn if you haven't learned, right?
Absolutely.
we often look at unlearning as, you know, just about walking away from something that you know, but that's really not it. It is about, you know, having a reference in what you learn. And that's why the question was so relevant to you, because you have your mother, your guru, who, you know, literally has guided you through your life, through everything that you've done. And yet you have departed in, you know, such creative ways into, you know, the kind of work your dance company or Natya itself does. So I think that's a very well summed up point, which says you don't know this if you don't know that. You don't know unlearning if you haven't gone through that whole yard of, you know, learning.
I was telling somebody that I'm not a this or that person. I'm an and person. I want this and I want that. I want to do this and I want to do that. Because at the end of the day, we are a storehouse of our experiences. And that's what we're going to go back with, right? So then make it richer. Do as much as we can, of course, without losing focus. It's not about that one core thing that we've spoken about has to be there, your riyaz or your engagement with your art. That is the fulcrum, right?
Yeah, which kind of brings us back to the idea of, you know, unlearning in the way you think, right? Like sometimes dancers think that, you know, 5 hours of practice alone make them a dancer, but then, you know, like how do you really make the whole of a dancer? Like how do you complete the personality of a dancer? And I think what you just said was absolutely a fantastic note to, you know, sum up this conversation. Thank you, Madhu, as always. I mean, there's really no one topic that I can't think of you as, you know, the perfect person to speak to. But then, particularly in this context, I think it is so relevant. And we look forward to having you at the event as well to inspire the participants. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kumuda and Shreya. Also wanted to say that I think another important aspect for all dancers, you know, watching this and otherwise too in life, is to acknowledge their creative self and to be original. I think that's very, very important. I think unlearning is about that, about saying, you know, I don't want to be a clone of this particular dancer or this particular guru, and that I am who I am and I'm proud of who I am. And for this context, I'd like to tell you something. When Ma passed away, there were a whole lot of her students and youngsters who suddenly started looking up to me differently. I was Madhu Didi, yes, but I was also somebody who they had to now look at instead of Maya Didi in a sense, right? And I told them, you know what, I'm not my mother. I'm a completely different person. And I'm a person actually my mother liked very much. And she was glad I'm not her. So hold on to your original self, hold on to your distinction. I think that when we acknowledge is where the balance of learning and unlearning is found. Yeah. And I think you ladies, I think personify that. The very fact that you're venturing out to do this in a time like this is a hugely brave step. Organizing and curating is a thankless job. So kudos to you both. Okay. And I hope you have a great success and grow from strength to strength.